Welcome to Root Cellar, an inquisitive look into sustainable food preservation and ancient wisdom for the modern world. Hi there. Welcome to the final episode of Root Cellar. This is a bit of a bonus episode of sorts. Today we're going to interview my mother, and she's going to give us a garden tour. It's been a exceptionally moist and rainy year in southern Alberta, and she's going to walk us through her entire garden, plant by plant, and explain what she does with everything, how it started. And the reason I wanted to do this was because I think this is where it all started for me. I think being exposed to the process of gardening at a young age motivated me to try to take it to the next level and have an interest in food preservation and our food supply system and fermenting and how we grow food and how we store food and how we manage our food in our society. So I hope this is a nice, light, fun episode to wrap things up in this series. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of things. I hope I was able to share some knowledge with you, and I hope it inspires you to move along in your food preservation journey. And I hope maybe this episode specifically inspires you to want to grow something next year, whether that be in a backyard or a condo or even inside. And I hope if you're already growing something this year, it inspires you to do something, try something different next year and grow something new. My mother has a pretty special garden. It's a special place, and I think it feeds a lot of people, not just her, but myself and my direct family and a lot of friends. And it's been a fun communal place, and I hope that you can see it for what it is, kind of in the middle of the season in a particularly moist July. So thanks for being along for the journey, and I hope this is just the start of our journey, growing food and preserving food. And I hope we respect the chain of command more and question where everything is coming from and why and how we interact within these systems. So thanks very much. We'll see you down the line.
Welcome to my garden. This has not been the best year for gardening at all in southern Alberta. We've been getting lots of rain, and it has been coming down pounding hard, so it's kind of made the soil like cement. A lot of the plants had trouble getting a start out of that hard packed cement kind of soil. So we've had to reseed a few things, and some have come up pretty good, but here we start. This is my symbol of corn. I got this decor way down in Texas. I love the decor, but I do not have corn right here. These are my red Pontiac potatoes. Potatoes usually do very well in the sandy soil that we have down here. These have been planted quite late for me, after the long weekend in May this year. They're doing well though. They're starting to get their little blossoms, so that's a good sign. Potatoes for me are usually kept in the fall when we dig them up, put them in gunny sacks, and they stay down in my cold storage room. And if I'm on a good year, I am very lucky. The potatoes last till March, even April, and prevents me from having to buy a lot of extra potatoes throughout the whole winter, so that's great. Well, and I will apologize ahead of time right now for all the weeds in my garden right now. We have had rain for the last 5 days, and it has been off and on all the time and has prevented any kind of weeding happening in the last few days. This is a prime example of my lettuce here having to, my orange beets having to be reseeded because the soil just got packed way down. Orange beets are a lovely vegetable to roast in the oven. These are ones, I do not do anything in the fall with these ones. We eat them during the summer months here. Nothing better than roasted orange beets. A little bit of olive oil, some garlic powder. They are delicious. And I usually do put in stakes like this that help tell me what is planted there when they're little seedlings. It's kind of hard to remember sometimes. These are my red beets. Red beets have multiple uses. In the fall, I will pickle them for pickled red beets. I also will very slight parboil them, and you chop them up with a potato French fry maker, dice them, and have them frozen in the deep freeze for Harvard beets. Those are delicious. And the leaves on these ones make the best cabbage rolls in the summer because they're soft. You take a little quick dip in boiling water and they are ready to go. So the only time and the only way you can get cabbage rolls in the summer is using red beet leaves. This is a variety pack of lettuce. So we have the butter crunch in here as well as the red leaf lettuce. There's a prime example of, I did reseed some lettuce there, did not come up, pack soil because of the rain. We're starting to eat the lettuce. It is wonderful when it's fresh like this. For me, lettuce doesn't last a lot longer than once the hot weather starts because it starts tasting a little bit bitter, but I will reseed it when it gets to that point, and I'll try it again after that. But love the lettuce. Nothing better than fresh lettuce from your garden. And I always grow a little bit of romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce, when it gets into the nice heads, is probably my favorite type of the lettuces, actually. It lasts longer and does not go as bitter as the butter crunch lettuce. As you can see, I have a extra little Swiss chard growing in here, so must have somehow got my seeds carried a little bit in the wind there. There's my helper, Loki. This is Swiss chard. Swiss chard is added to any kind of lettuce as well, but my favorite kind of thing to do with it, kind of like the red beet leaves, is Swiss chard makes the best cabbage rolls also. So these leaves get nice and big again, a quick little dip in hot water and it is good to go. Here we have 2 zucchini plants. The zucchini, this is a green zucchini, and that's my yellow zucchini, squash, as some people call it. These have had to be replanted this year again because of the pounding rain that we had on the soil. So usually I never have to replant zucchini, but there's always a first time for everything when you're gardening. This is my one and only cucumber plant that has made it. We have reseeded twice and it just has not been a good year for me for the cukes. I'm hoping I get enough off this one poor little plant. Usually I do. I did plant it there and there where the stakes are. Reseeded it twice like I said, but it just didn't go this year. Here we have 6 early girl tomato plants. The tomatoes are already coming on. It is July 3rd, so that's a good start for these. They've done really well this year, but I do protect them with containers that go around them until they get quite big. That helps protect them from the hard rain and from the sun when they're really, really little. But I think the tomatoes are going to do well. So my peppers usually do really well here. I do freeze them in the fall, a lot of them. I will eat them as we need them throughout the summer though as well. There's everything from cayenne peppers, chili peppers, jalapenos. We have sweet bananas and a super chili this year. One of my favorites, hot Hungarian wax peppers, I could not find this year in the greenhouses, so we're minus that one this year. Peas have not done well at all this year, as you can see. These have been reseeded, and we just have a few little wispy ones coming up. It needs hot weather, and it has not been warm enough for peas. So we'll have to make do this year with the few that we get, because like I said, they have been reseeded. If I have a very good crop, I also will freeze peas for the winter months, because there is nothing better than fresh peas from your garden in the winter.
So one of my favorite things to pull out of a fresh garden is as many herbs as I can get. And usually for me, I'm completely overloaded by herbs. So this is a great way to use a bunch up. But essentially I would take all the herbs I have, basil leading the way, followed by mint, cilantro, dill, parsley, chives, onions. Then you'll add some olive oil, salt, apple cider vinegar, and some lemon, and you get this blended concoction that's tangy. It's got enough preservatives to last a long time. It's one of my favorite things. Traditionally, chimichurri is made with mortar and pestle, but I find it's just faster and easier to put it into a food processor or a blender. And some chili flakes in there I forgot to mention. But yeah, it's a great way to use up herbs. It's so good for you, and it just is great on almost anything, any meat, bread, eggs. It's so good. So yeah, I'll try it out here. It's phenomenal. It's just packed with flavor. So fresh. And I find this on a lot of menus now at restaurants, but you hardly get any of it. It's so pound for pound. You know, if you go to the store and buy herbs to try to make chimichurri, sometimes I think a batch that, like I made a batch recently, and I used just, I was wildly overgrown between this garden and my mother's garden, so I just used up a ton. And if I was to buy that at the store, you know, it's a little package of mint for $3 to $5. So I'd swear it's a street value of $25 to $75 every time I make a batch, and it's wild. So I'm really excited about chimichurri. I hope you try it out. It's a great way to use some herbs, and yeah, I'll just show you what I got in the garden box here. So as you can see here, I got a rather large garden box, but you know, not too much to it. I got some chives over here, an overgrown patch of cilantro, so that'll be leading the way for my my chim. Some basil that went wrong, so I'm going to be reseeding that. Dill, some onions, some mint at the back, and you can throw in other greens, like you can throw in some spinach or kale. I noticed at restaurants they do that often. I think they'll use discarded greens from veggies they cut to try to as a filler, but you know, that will make it go further, but it's not as flavorful per se. So I'd avoid it if you have the herbs, and if you're growing herbs at home, you probably do. And yeah, let basil lead the way whenever you have the chance. Too much dill can throw it off. I find mint's easy to overpower, so maybe yeah, be slightly cautious with the mint and dill, but you know, let cilantro and basil and things like that lead the way. And it's wonderful. You'll love it.
I put in a whole row of onions for us on the farm. These are not grown from bulbs. I usually buy the shoots now. I had a little issue with my soil and onions, and I was told that some of the bulbs will cause that kind of a fungus there in your soil. So I've changed, and they're doing really, really well. So these are shoots that I bought from the greenhouse this year. The first part of the onions are called bunching onions. We use these all through the summer. There's lots here, and then in the fall, I'll take them, bunch them up, hang them on the fence to dry, and then they go downstairs in my cold storage room. I can have onions till almost next May or June, depending on the crop, but they are wonderful, and they taste like real onions. Like, these will make you cry when you chop them. So this is my bunching onions up until my next steak, and then starts the Spanish onions. And this year I had put in 2 kind of semi-rows of Walla Walla onions. They were a real hit last year, and they were huge. So I think that'll be a good one to have again. And the last little part here are my yellow onions. Throughout the summer, though, I will, as I need any of these onions, I will pick and choose whichever ones I need to go with whatever food I'm cooking for supper that night. These are my carrots. These ones are called Nantes, is how I say them anyways. These have been reseeded a couple times as well, but they are finally coming up nice. They're cold weather crop, I call them, so it just needs a little heat and they'll really take off. It's a slow go start this year, like I said, on many vegetables this year. We also had pretty bad winter kill here at the farm this year on some plants. These are my hollyhocks. I had 3 beautiful plants growing here last year, but only one survived the winter this year. They're looking like they're getting ready to get flower though and get their blooms on, which will be great. And then I'll just tie them up on that fence. My garden usually has more gladiolas than this. This is all I got planted this year because of the intermittent rain we've had. But these are all different colors of gladiolas. I love flowers on my table all summer long. So I just go around my yard. I have many perennials planted, flower beds all along the farm, and I just can pick and choose and get different kinds of flowers on my table for the summer. Asparagus. My asparagus has all gone to seed already, but we had a wonderful crop this year because of all the rain and cool temperatures. So the asparagus actually loves that. This little patch produces tons of asparagus. Really weedy right now. We'll have to get in here as soon as I can when this weather changes for a day or two. That'll be helpful. Wild chives growing from last year. And I have 2 new blueberry plants growing here. We'll see what happens. I have never tried blueberry plants before. They need a lot of moisture the first year, so they've had a great start this year. Raspberries are one of my favorite on the farm. These are, this first row is a transplanted row, but the half row here I've had for probably 10 years. I make tons of jam with my raspberries. I give a lot of jam away, actually, but that's okay. And then I also freeze yogurt containers full of raspberries just to put on ice cream during the winter months. This is half a row of sweet pea flowers. They'll be wonderful and they smell wonderful in the kitchen on the table. And then I have a little bit of marigolds planted. There's a lot of weeds though, so I can't wait to get out here. We need a weeding party, I think I'm going to call it. Strawberries are here next underneath the wire just to keep my little critters out. Oh, we've got one just about ready here. Yep. Just about one there. But Lots of weeding here too. This is the first year for these strawberries. I replanted. I had the last batch for quite a few years, so it was time to replant. This is what I call Ken squash. This is from my brother. These are big white squash. They are wonderful in the fall for making casseroles or adding to soups. They've got kind of a sweeter taste to them than like an acorn. They're very orange inside, but they're beautiful white looking squash. On this side, I just have butternut squash growing. I love it for soups. I have taken a break from spaghetti squash this year, as I think I've overdone it on the spaghetti squash the last couple of years and needed a change. So we're growing two different types of squash. And back here at this end is all going to be pumpkins. We have different kinds of pumpkins growing. Big, super big Atlantic pumpkins to a variety of pumpkins, which will have also white pumpkins as well, and bigger ones and smaller ones. Some will be used just for decorating, some used for pies, and a lot will be used to decorate for Halloween. So this is the result this year of my garden growing, and like I said, it has not been a great year, but look it's not bad. With a little bit of effort, I think anybody can garden. It's you learn by trial and error. Nothing always turns out perfect, as you can see. So next year you try a different variety, or you try a different type of vegetable. And with the cost of vegetables in the grocery stores right now, these ones are so much cheaper. And you know what? It's right in your backyard. You don't have to run to the grocery store to go get them. And there's nothing will beat the taste of fresh vegetables from your own garden.
Thank you so much for joining us for a little tour of my family garden. As I mentioned, it's a special place to us, and it was neat to be able to show it to you during a particularly fruitful and moist year that's positively affected certain vegetables and flowers and negatively affected others. And that's the way it goes every year. There's things that go well and things that go wrong, and I think that's why you plant such a robust variety. One of the favorite things I have regarding sort of food preservation in the garden is we like to make kale pucks. So what makes kale special, maybe a little bit more interesting to me than say different types of lettuce, is its varied application. And so one of the ways we keep it moving forward for the winter is we harvest the mature kale plant, and we blanch it, and then put it in a food processor with a tiny bit of water, and blend it into a liquid and pour it into ice cube trays and freeze it, and then put it in a container. So essentially we call them pucks. We've used muffin tins as well, and so you have this concentrated pureed kale that can go directly into a soup or a smoothie in a different season. So, you know, a ton of nutrients in a very condensed, easy to process way. So that's something I love to do, that I see a lot of bang for your buck in that application. Another thing that my mother's into more than I am, but I'm fascinated with, is the wide practical use for zucchini. She's added it to different loaves, as you've probably seen on the internet or from friends. She uses it for a zucchini-based salsa. So that's another thing. And zucchini is just so flexible. I'm seeing it used more and more in different things. We did the episode on hot sauce, and that's been a fun application for peppers for me. Salsas is one of my favorite things to come from the garden. And then, yeah, pickling and just canning any of the vegetables. I love pickled carrots, pickled asparagus, canning these as well. Just a great thing to pull out in the depths of winter and to add it to your plate. It kind of makes you feel like you have a fresh or something that was fresh that you've preserved, and it's a good feeling. So I'm really interested in learning, creative, new, fun ways to keep on expanding these techniques and making this garden last longer, and being able to, find ways to make it produce just as much in the winter as it does in the summer, just based on these techniques of storage and preservation. So yeah, try out some kale pucks. It's a great bang for your buck. Another thing that we love to do in the summer is chimichurri, which is different than pesto in that it's a little more flexible. You can use all types of herbs, citrus, olive oil, some spice, and effectively make this great nutrient dense paste that you can put on any types of meats or eggs, bread, and it just gives it this tangy goodness that is full of good fats and just so many nutrients. And because herbs grow so readily in a garden, it's really the cost for you is the olive oil. Salt and citrus and herbs and spices don't really cost that much, and the street value of that chimichurri would be incredible. So that's one of my favorite things to do with when in an in-season garden is to utilize the basil and the dill and the parsley and the cilantro and any herbs you have on mint, any herbs you have on hand that you can throw in a food processor. And it's a great way to use herbs. It's a great way to consume fresh, non-cooked herbs in your diet, and to get a really big boost of vitamins and minerals in a single dish. And that's applicable with a million different types of things you're going to cook. So try that out as well, chimichurri. So again, thanks so much for being here. This is really inspiring, and I hope that Root Cellar continues on in some way, shape, or form. And we'll see you down the line. Thank you.